Local for you. From the heart of the Quad Cities, your local election headquarters presents For the Record.
Hello everyone, I'm Kelly Bowles and this is For the Record. Jim is off this week. It was a standing room only in Monday night's meeting to determine the fate of the 123-year-old courthouse. But despite last-minute pleas from the public and a sea of Save Our Courthouse stickers, the Rock Island County board members voted 15-7 in favor of tearing it down. While historic, the board members have argued the employees have outgrown the space and say remodeling it would cost tens of millions of dollars, citing thousands of dollars in asbestos and black mold removal alone. These factors and the lack of funds to save the courthouse led to Monday's vote to hand the building over to the Public Building Commission, which set aside $1.6 million for demolition from the Justice Center project currently underway behind the courthouse. The courthouse is expected to be torn down sometime next year, and a preliminary plan say that a green space would replace the building. Courthouse isn't the only hot topic in Rock Island County right now, and with the multi-million-dollar Justice Center well on its way, neighbors can expect some big changes in the area in the near future. One figure at the center of some of those changes is Rock Island County Sheriff Jerry Bustos. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we are talking about this decision to tear down the courthouse, and as you know, that it got kind of heated at some times, and there were a lot of last-minute pleas, and while many said it would have been a devastating loss to the county, we also heard from some who say it's a relief to taxpayers, and board members who said it's time to let it go. At one point, they even tried to call you to the microphone to have you weigh in on this. So, what are you thinking today about the board's decision?
Well, again, as I said during the meeting, and I've said many times before the meeting, that I pretty much met with anybody that wanted to discuss the challenges that I have as a sheriff trying to maintain that building. I've certainly discussed that with them. I've certainly discussed the challenges that we would have if we had an empty building next to a brand new courthouse. So I've certainly given all my opinions to everybody that was involved. Ultimately at the end of the day though, it was a county board decision. Even as the sheriff, I have to abide by that. So as I said during that meeting, the decision was the board's, and then however they chose is what I would do as the sheriff.
And I mean, kind of like you just said, that would have caused, an empty building, and there's obviously probably some safety risks that this building might have posed if they had kept it. And just knowing that it was kind of run out, I mean, can you kind of talk to me about that? What kind of risk would you have been looking at if they did decide to save it?
Well, again, if we have an empty building, certainly the only way I can make sure that it's safe for the people in the new building is to be able to search that building every single day. That creates a burden on the sheriff's office. And making sure that we're able to get in there. If there was some other partnership, again, there would be areas that perhaps I couldn't get into to search, and it just becomes a safety issue. Whenever they build new buildings for government, they don't build them typically that close to each other. Keep in mind that the new building and the old building are about 30 feet apart when they're going to be completely done. So again, very close. But again, that was my opinion as a sheriff. The board members certainly could take that into account. They could certainly discount it. It's up to them. But the decision was ultimately theirs.
And we're kind of talking about that new building. Even though the old courthouse has been cited as being outdated, the new Justice Center annex right behind it is expected to meet and exceed expectations. The $28 million project broke ground in 2016 and was originally expected to be completed this fall. The Public Building Commission that will be tearing down the courthouse is overseeing that new facility. What can the community expect from this new facility that's going on behind the courthouse?
Well, again, this new facility is going to be certainly better. It's going to be built to do the things that we're doing today, and it's going to be streamlined. Again, it's going to be more user-friendly. It's going to be a building where people are able to get in and get out. It's certainly done with the user in mind, so it's less stately in that it's trying to show the public that the criminal justice system is there, but it's more trying to just make sure that when people come there, they're not able to, or I'm sorry, they're not going to be in a position where they're not going to understand what's going on. We're doing everything we can to be as user-friendly.
And is it still on track? I know originally fall 2018 was the end goal. Is that still looking like the possibility?
Yeah, December 1st was always the ultimate goal to open that building. I think they're well ahead of schedule now. I've heard dates as early as October.
And to kind of follow up on that, I mean, we know that they're planning to have 4 new courtrooms, office space for the circuit clerk, the state's attorney, and the court administrator. But we also know that these plans were in the works before any final decisions were made about the courthouse. Does this change any of the plans for the annex? And, you know, are they going to be able to accommodate for the lost space once the courthouse is gone?
Well, again, that's one of the challenges that the county is dealing with. Going back to when these studies started, certainly 2010, 2011, there was many different versions of this building being designed, but all of those came with a huge price tag. And I recall the first one was like $72, $73 million. And ultimately the voter said no to that. So that forced those players to go back to the table and try and figure out some way to resolve the issues.
And I guess that's kind of, you know, so do we think that that might also be a possibility now that we kind of know this is what we plan to do with the courthouse, see where it goes from there with that space?
Yeah, you know, I really can't say for sure what was in their minds because I wasn't part of those conversations. But ultimately, you know, this new building is being built, and we're able to move forward with those things that we have to do.
Thank you very much. And we still have a lot more to talk about with Sheriff Bustos. Straight ahead, there is a new gun law in Illinois, what it may mean for neighbors right here at home on For the Record.
We all know that the act of caring is rooted in actions, not in words. That's why we're here at the Family Museum in Bettendorf.
For the 3rd year in a row, our station is taking on a major community project for our parent company's Founders Day of Caring.
In 2016, we built an obstacle course as part of the Children's Garden at the Quad City Botanical Center.
And last year, we created another fun and educational stop at the Nature Trail of Learning at Nahant Marsh.
This year, we're in Bettendorf at the Family Museum to build a permanent butterfly garden.
This habitat will be yet another hands-on learning opportunity here at the museum for kids of all ages.
And it'll stand as a permanent symbol of our station's commitment to the communities we serve.
There are plenty of ways that you can give back, so we encourage you to find something you're passionate about and get out there and volunteer.
And there's a good chance we'll see you there.
Serving our community. Just another way Local 4 News is local for you.
Oh, this is bad.
Can I help?